So it looks like Khamzat Chimaev versus Neil Magny is going to happen next. Khamzat has not fought since he went on that three-fight winning streak in the UFC last summer. He had the win over John Phillips, then Reese McKee, then the KO of Gerald Meerschaert. Then he was calling out everybody under the sun. And Neil Magny was basically begging for the Khamzat Chimaev fight. Khamzat didn't want nothing to do with Neil Magny. Was then finally scheduled in December to fight Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards got sick, pulled out of that fight. It was rescheduled for January. Khamzat Chimaev got sick, pulled out of that fight. It was rescheduled for March. Then Khamzat was still dealing with complications of being sick, so he had to pull out of the March fight. And then the Leon Edwards fight was just dead at this point. So it's kind of odd now because Khamzat, but even before Neil Magny fought Geoff Nea, was saying that if Neil Magny won, he was going to fight Neil Magny next. And don't get me wrong, Neil Magny, he's a well-rounded fighter. He put on an okay performance against Geoff Nea, wasn't super impressive. But I'm not super excited for this fight. I kind of wanted to see Khamzat versus Michael Chiesa. He had all this big talk. He was supposed to fight Leon Edwards. But I have a feeling Khamzat, his manager, the UFC, with as big as a star that they believe he can become if he can keep winning, I believe they're kind of giving him a quote-unquote like warm-up fight before he comes back. Not that Neil Magny isn't a good fighter. But when you look at Neil Magny's performance against Michael Chiesa, and then you look about how Neil Magny may match up with Chimaev, I don't think he's going to match up very well. And Khamzat wanted nothing to do with that. He wanted nothing but big fights. He wanted Wonder Boy. He wanted Leon Edwards. Now all of a sudden he wants Neil Magny. He tweeted out, I'll put the tweet on the screen. He tweeted out that he wants to fight Neil Magny in the summer. Neil Magny's definitely going to be down. Neil Magny's down to fight anyone. So I bet you it's going to happen. It'll probably be announced soon, would be my guess. August, maybe early August, end of July. It's just kind of weird that Khamzat wanted nothing to do with him, it seemed like. And now all of a sudden, that's the fight he wants badly. I guess he saw that Chiesa fight and he's licking his lips because, obviously Khamzat's a heavy grappler, heavy wrestler. He believes he can probably take Neil Magny down at will and beat him up on the ground. That's what Michael Chiesa showed, that Neil Magny's takedown defense against elite grapplers isn't good. But I'm not completely sold on Chimaev yet. He's only beat guys who, are not the top quality guys. I mean, Gerald Meerschaert is the best win on his resume. And, Gerald Meerschaert isn't even top 15. So, it'll be a nice step up. But for me personally, with the way Khamzat was talking about being the champion, he could take out Usman. He's going to fight at 185, 170, all these different fights. I kind of wanted to see, this was a rare case where I didn't want to see him built up. I didn't want to see him fight, make his way up the ranks. I wanted him thrown in the deep end. I loved the Leon Edwards fight, even though it kind of didn't make sense ranking-wise. This guy's talking a lot. And let's just see if he's the real deal or not. Why wait and have these other fights? But we'll see how he does against Neil Magny. My prediction is he will beat Neil Magny. I'll obviously do a prediction video when the fight gets announced or gets closer to the fight. But supposedly Khamzat, once he returns, he wants to be super active. He wants to fight a couple times this year. That's coming from him and his manager. We'll see if he actually does it or not. It looked like he retired for a little while there. He put out that post on, I believe it was Instagram, after he was sick and dealing with complications. Having to in and out of the hospital, dealing with problems, not being able to breathe right. It looked like he might never return, and then all of a sudden, I guess he was emotional, and now he's going to return, and he's going to fight Neil Magny. It's definitely going to happen. It's not announced yet. It's not official, but it's definitely going to happen. I'm sure of it. There's no way the UFC is going to bring him back and toss him in there with one of those top 5 guys. And Neil Magny, for all he is, he's not. It's not like. As much as I think Khamzat will beat him, it's not like I think Neil Magny's a bum. Neil Magny's a quality fighter. He's won 4 out of his last 5 fights, losing to Michael Chiesa, and Chiesa's a great fighter. His last fight he lost before that was 2018 against Santiago Ponzinibbio, which, again, pretty great fighter, especially in 2018. It's hard to gauge that guy now, but... So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about Khamzat versus Neil Magny? Do you think Neil Magny can win that fight? I just think it's a bad matchup when you look at what happened to him against Chiesa. And maybe Chiesa's a better grappler than Khamzat. I don't know. It's hard to gauge. I know Khamzat has a great cult following. But when you've only beat names like Gerald Meerschaert, for me, I can't gauge your skill set. He looked great. Don't get me wrong. His skills look there, but against the quality of fighter he's fighting, of course he's going to look good. So until we see him, it'll be nice to see him against Neil Magny. Then we can really get a gauge of his skill set. But let me know in the comments how you think the fight will go down. Give me your prediction for the fight. Are you excited for this fight, or will you prefer it? I'm still down that we lost the Leon Edwards fight, because that was the rare occasion where we get this up-and-coming guy who looks on the trajectory to be a star. And if he would have beaten Leon Edwards, he would have been fighting Usman for the belt, without a doubt. That's why the UFC was so desperate to keep that fight together. They rescheduled it 3 times. And now he's fighting Neil Magny. So it's a little bit of a letdown for me, but I understand why, especially him being sick, having serious complications. They want to ease him back in. Not that Neil Magny's an easy fight again. That's not what I'm saying. But he's not a Leon Edwards. He's not a Michael Chiesa. He's a little bit of a step down. He's toward the bottom of the top 10, maybe even just barely out of the top 10. I'm not sure where he ranks right now. I'm not looking at the rankings, so I don't know off the top of my head. But let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure to like the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.